If you have a dog that struggles with reactivity and you've gone all throughout the internet trying to find how to fix your dog's reactivity, but you've made little to no progress, well, this is the video for you. I'm going to tell you exactly how I brought Bentley from extremely reactive and an extremely crazy dog into a well-behaved, totally neutral dog when other dogs are around. If you want to see how we do it, stick around. So Bentley's owner sent him here for a 6-week board and train because they have struggled with reactivity for a long time, for the majority of Bentley's life. Bentley would react when he would see dogs even 100, 150 feet away from a very long distance. He would lunge and bark and react, and they had no end in sight. So what they did was they sent Bentley here. The first thing I did with Bentley is just spent a little time with him trying to figure out why is he reactive. Some dogs are reactive because they are a big, mean, aggressive dog, but that is very, very few cases. I'd say it's less than 3% of cases are because the dog is actually aggressive. And a lot of owners think their dog, if they let their dog off leash and their dog were to go at what they're reacting at, that they would bite, but the vast majority of dogs would not. Oftentimes it can be poor socialization. It could be improper use of tools. When you put a dog on a harness and you don't teach them to loose leash walk, the harness can actually build up all of this energy and cause a dog to be reactive. Sometimes it's frustration and lack of obedience and lack of clear guidelines. There's a lot of reasons our dog could be reactive. Another reason could be that your dog just doesn't know how to handle the situation. They get a little bit anxious. It could be an anxiety. There's a lot of reasons your dog could be reactive. And the first thing we need to do is discover, why is our dog reactive? With Bentley, the reason Bentley's reactive is he's not aggressive, he doesn't have negative intentions, right? When he sees a dog and he starts barking and lunging, he doesn't want to go bite that dog. He doesn't know how to handle the situation. It's a little bit of anxiety and unclear guidelines on how he handles it. And that progressively went from very, very mild when he was a puppy to building up. And as he got older, it grew and it got worse and worse. And so that is why Bentley's reactive, and that's really helpful. If our dog is aggressive, we handle it really the same way, but we also have to have some understanding on, we don't want to just let our dog run and go and bite someone. So we figure out Bentley's reactivity. The next thing that we do is actually not work on his reactivity. What I want to do is work on some obedience and work on some proper socialization, work on being around dogs that he knows and not reacting, setting him up for success, right? Being here, he knows the other dogs that are in my house, including my own dogs. And if we can walk around on a leash, whether me being on a, me holding Bentley on a leash and the other dogs on a leash, to the same dogs, whatever it might be, but working with Bentley, kind of setting him up for success and building some communication, showing Bentley, yes, you're doing something right, no, you're doing something wrong, communicating really clearly, working on his sits and his downs and the recall, improving our general relationship. And if you work on this, I guarantee you will see a massive difference in your dog. Some dogs will improve really all the way. Some dogs will improve a good amount, but the general relationship is one of the most important parts on fixing a dog's reactivity, especially if it's unclear expectations and unclear guidelines and anxiety. Just our relationship and showing Bentley, hey, you're doing something right, no, you're doing something wrong, makes what he's doing really clear. Hey, yes, no. But once we figure out the obedience and kind of improve our relationship and have Bentley paying a little bit more attention to me, what we're gonna do is slowly start building some training with his triggers. So some dogs are only reactive to certain size dogs or dogs that might be barking and lunging, right? So we have to figure out what the triggers are, but when we want to throw Bentley into the things that stress him out, into his stimuli that he doesn't know how to handle, but we also want to do it while setting him up for success. We want him to have the ability to win. And one example of this could be working Bentley at threshold. So if he reacts at dogs in a specific environment from 100 feet away, What we want to do is work with him at threshold, where we are just beyond a distance where he will react, but we're not too close where he will react, and slowly start building up that threshold a little bit. Another great example is bringing his triggers. With Bentley, it was all dogs, but bringing his triggers around with. So what I would do is I would have friends or coworkers or whoever bring out my dogs and walk around. Bentley knows them, so I'm setting him up for success. I'm kind of showing him what the proper behavior is in this situation and correcting or encouraging behaviors. And I'm going to be constantly throwing him into his triggers. I'm not going to avoid them. In fact, I'm going to do the opposite. If I see a dog, I'm going to go towards this dog and build up threshold, get closer, make that threshold closer and closer and closer until we are right next to the dog while I'm setting him up for success. I'm punishing behaviors, I'm encouraging behaviors, and making it really clear what's right, what's wrong. So when we are out on walks and we are trying to encourage behaviors or discourage behaviors, we want to use the simple three-step process for communicating clearly with our dog. The first part to the whole activity of reacting is there is a stimuli, there is a trigger, there is a dog walking by. That is the trigger, that is the stimuli. That's what's causing your dog to react. The second part of it is Bentley has a reaction. Is whatever his reaction is. His reaction could be he barks, he lunges, he gets aroused, he gets excited, or he does nothing. He has a reaction, and the third part is either encouraging that behavior or discouraging behavior, punishing or reinforcing that behavior. And so what we want to do is we want to allow our dog free to make decisions. What I don't want to do is just stick Bentley in a heel. He has such a great heel, I'm just going to stick him in a heel and he's not going to react. Well, yeah, that would kind of work, but what happens when he's not in a heel? What I want to do is allow Bentley to fully go out and make his own decisions. I'm not putting him in a heel, he's loose leash walking, but I am allowing him to make decisions. I'm going to encourage this decision with praise, pets. You can use food, but you don't really need to use food. And I'm going to discourage behaviors with a correction that involves using a tool like a prong collar or a slip lead or something where we can just get our dog's attention. The whole point of a correction is to communicate, hey, you're doing something wrong, pay attention to me. And that is going to teach your dog, this is right, this is wrong, and it is really, really, really clear. Do I do this? Do I not do this? And when we're punishing behaviors, when we're discouraging behaviors, we want to have a correction, enough pressure where we can communicate with our dog to stop doing what they're doing. If you're using a tool where you cannot communicate that to your dog, you're not using the right tool or you're not using the right technique. When I give a dog a correction, it is a pop. It is a proper pop from a slack leash to a slack leash. And the whole point is to get Bentley to stop what he's doing. If we're correcting our dog and they continue doing what they're doing, we're not using enough pressure. We're not giving them a heavy enough correction. When we're correcting behaviors, it's really important to see in your dog what we are correcting. We are correcting arousal. We are correcting excitement. Bentley has perked up ears, and so it is really easy to see when he locks in on something, his ears will go from up or to the side or down a little bit to locked in. And that is where we want to correct. That is where it starts building up. We don't want to correct once our dog is already at 100 or already reacting. There's always a buildup. Sometimes that buildup is 5 seconds. Sometimes that buildup is a half a second, but we want to stop it right as it starts building up with a clear no. You cannot underestimate the importance of just giving your dog a clear no. Something's wrong. If we communicate with our dog that they are doing something right, it should be really clear also, right? Yes, good boy with pets, right? Excitement, it could be high value treats. It could be whatever. I don't love to use treats when I'm training this because I want to focus on our relationship, but you can use treats if you need to, but you want to make behaviors that are correct, really clear that that was what you want to do. That's what we want. And you want to make behaviors that are wrong, that are that are not desirable, and behaviors that we're discouraging, really clear that, hey, we don't do that. I am trying to shape the behavior of what you want, and it's really important to give your dog a big data set on what's right, what's wrong. You can't go out on one walk and expect your dog to fully understand this because we have to generalize it in different environments and situations, but making it really clear, yes, we do this. no, we don't do this, and giving them a ton of information. In this environment, yes, this is right, no, this is wrong. In that environment, yes, this is right, no, this is wrong. Different types of dogs. As many environments and situations as you can put your dog in, making it clear what's right, what's wrong. And once you teach your dog this, you will see your dog start making good decisions. And as things improve,
good boy, Bentley,
you want to heavily encourage behavior. So after 1 week of encouraging the right behaviors and discouraging the undesired behaviors, you should see a significant improvement in your dog. You should see your dog paying a lot more attention to you, being a lot more engaged with you, reacting less, maybe getting a little aroused at other dogs or whatever their trigger is, but significantly less arousal. And you should just see a lot more attention and good decisions. The next thing after that we're gonna start working on is some off-leash e-collar training. In my case, I train every dog with an e-collar the proper way, where we are using low levels of pressure, but we wanna start allowing our dog free a little bit more, to make decisions, to be off-leash, be a little bit further away from us, whatever it might be, and properly e-collar training your dog to recall and allow your dog to a great situation that I set Bentley up all the time in is I'm out with my dog and Bentley, or just Bentley or whatever, and we're playing, and there's dogs walking by right next to us. And I'm gonna use the e-collar there to encourage behaviors or discourage behaviors, but you can only do that once your dog is e-collar trained. You can't just slap an e-collar on your dog and expect them to understand it. But that last couple percent just requires a lot more generalization, different environments, situations, different types of dogs. Try to set your dog up as many situations as possible where you know that they might fail, and you will see a huge improvement. That is how you get rid of reactivity first and foremost, and never have to deal with it again. Teach your dogs to make good decisions, and when you teach your dog to make good decisions, your dog will make good decisions, and they will be a non-reactive, much happier, content dog. If you found this video helpful, well, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below, see how you're improving. I absolutely love hearing all of your success stories and all of your significant improvements that you all make. I read every single comment, so please leave me a comment below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. We'll see you in the next one.